Welcome back to the archives. Today we open the file on Project Chase, the Pascagoula abduction. We're going beyond the narrative and into the verified forensic evidence. This wasn't a sighting, it was a kidnapping. To understand the case, you must understand the setting. Pascagoula in 1973 was a shipyard town, practical and working class. Charles Hickson was 42, a foreman, a man of clear authority and routine. Calvin Parker was 19, his apprentice. These were not fringe characters, they were typical working men with zero history of mental instability or intoxication. Their immediate decision, despite extreme psychological distress, was to drive straight to the local Jackson County Sheriff's Office after this incident. This action, immediately seeking official help rather than selling a story, immediately lent credibility to their terror. The entities were bizarre. Three creatures with gray wrinkled skin, conical heads, and no visible eyes. They didn't walk, they floated effortlessly. When they grabbed the men, Hickson felt total instantaneous paralysis, rigid yet mentally awake. This is the central forensic detail, a targeted, non-constant neuromuscular inhibition. This was not a biological defense. This was technology, a paralyzing ray or sonic field designed to render the victims docile without physical damage. Sheriff Fred Diamond was skeptical. He believed the men were either drunk or pulling a hoax. His solution was brilliant in its cynicism and ultimately proof of their honesty. Diamond and his deputy left Hickson and Parker alone in the interrogation room, announcing they were going for coffee. What they did not announce was the hidden reel-to-reel tape recorder spinning in the room. The police were waiting for them to start planning their story. The tape captured 25 minutes of raw, unedited panic. No one was laughing. They were terrified. Parker said, "I'm about to go crazy. I can't move." Hickson said, "I know, son. I know. Lord help us." The FBI was brought in to analyze the authenticity of this tape, as the content transcended mere local police work. From the FBI field memorandum from the Mississippi UAP file in 1973, quote, "The witnesses left unattended exhibited extreme genuine psychological stress and fear consistent with the traumatic non-simulated experience. Their desperate spontaneous dialogue confirms a shared acute trauma response inconsistent with fabrication or hoax." End quote. Following the FBI's ruling, investigators turned to the polygraph test. Multiple tests were administered by experts, including official polygrapher Ken Steinhauser. The results were uniform. The trauma was real. A quote from the APRO investigation, case 1973-10-11. Independent polygraph analysis confirmed the subjects were reporting their narrative without conscious deception. The physiological reactions during questioning suggested a deep-seated belief in the events described, rendering the possibility of a calculated hoax highly improbable. End quote. The psychological profile confirmed they were suffering from a form of acute stress disorder, consistent with sudden overwhelming traumatic event, not deception. Hickson's memory of the inside of the craft was limited but critical. It was brightly lit but with no visible light source. The entities floated him into a room and deployed a large mechanical eye-like scanner that examined his body. The APRO report highlighted this as proof of advanced technology, a non-invasive structured examination. The metallic creatures were likely biomechanical drones deployed to handle the external work and transportation, while the advanced internal scanner performed the core task, gathering data. Naval intelligence immediately focused on the PSYOPs military testing hypothesis. If this was a test, the technology represented a quantum leap in psychological warfare. Directed energy hypnosis? This theory suggests a low-frequency auditory or electromagnetic weapon was used to induce the paralysis and the shared hallucination of the abduction. The bizarre robotic appearance of the entities could be a visual filter designed to prevent identification, giving the operators a perfect escape route. The Naval Intelligence Field Summary noted the isolated location and the specific controlled effect of the paralysis. They were not concerned with little green men, but with the proven technology used to control them. A quote from the Naval Intelligence Field Summary in S-73. "The central concern is the ability of an unknown agency to induce acute shared trauma and deploy a paralyzing agent in a controlled environment. Investigation into the source of the weaponized sensory denial mechanism is the mandate of this assessment." End quote. The CIA's involvement went beyond the tactical. They were concerned with the destabilization potential of such an event. If this technology could be deployed to cause widespread verifiable trauma in civilians, the national security implications were immense. The CIA's conclusion was sobering. The agency summarized the core takeaway, noting the profound difference between the tech used and the psychological damage left behind. This is from CIA RDP 80, Joint Mississippi UAP Memorandum from 1974. Quote, the consistency of the subject's narrative and their verified physiological trauma, coupled with the immediate onset of amnesia regarding the internal events of the crafts, points towards the application of advanced sensory manipulation. The successful deployment of such technology in an isolated civilian environment is assessed as a grave threat to national psychological stability, regardless of the vehicle's origin. End quote. If analyzing police polygraphs, naval intelligence summaries, and the limits of human trauma has fueled your inner investigator, you know what to do. Your likes and subscriptions are the fuel that powers this archive, so hit the button and let's keep opening files. We've tracked the terror of silent abduction on the water. Now we head into the dense forests of Pennsylvania for a high-stakes military retrieval operation. Next time we open files on Project Acorn, the infamous Kecksburg UFO incident of 1965. This was not a light. This was a large acorn-shaped metallic object that crashed in the woods and was immediately sealed off by the U.S. Army. We will analyze the multiple witness accounts describing the object's distinct non-aerodynamic shape and the strange hieroglyphic symbols running around the lower rim, which witnesses compared to Egyptian markings. We'll use the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers field report from December 1965 and the FAA incident reports, Cleveland sector, and the Air Force OSI case files, Project Grudge and Blue Book, to assess the core question: was the object a Soviet satellite that crashed, or was this a covert military operation to retrieve an extraterrestrial reconnaissance probe that bore symbols of an ancient non-terrestrial language? Join us next time as the documented terror lands and is seized by the Army. I'll see you in the archives.